Have you ever looked at the sky just as the sun is waking up? Or maybe you have watched the sky as the sun goes to sleep for the night. You might see a very bright light hanging there. It looks like a super bright star. It is the first star to appear in the evening or the last one to fade in the morning. Many people wonder what this beautiful, shining object could possibly be. It shines so much brighter than anything else around it, except for the sun and the moon, of course. This special light has captured the attention of people for thousands of years, making them look up in wonder. This bright light is not a star at all. It is actually a planet. Its name is Venus. Because it is so bright and appears at these special times, people gave it a nickname. It is called the morning star when you see it just before sunrise. It is also called the evening star when you see it just after sunset. Isn't that a neat trick for a planet to have two names like that? Venus is our neighbor in the solar system, but it plays a game of peekaboo with us. It only shows itself near the sun, which is why we connect it so closely with the beginning and end of our day. So, why isn't Venus a star? Stars are giant balls of hot gas, like our sun. They make their own light and heat. Planets are different. They are large, round objects that travel around a star. Planets do not make their own light. They are like giant space rocks that are dark on their own. The only reason we can see planets like Venus is because they reflect the light from our sun. It is like how the moon shines in our night sky. The moon doesn't make its own light. It just reflects the sunlight that hits its surface, making it glow for us on Earth. Venus is the second planet from the sun, which makes it very special in our sky. It is a world of mystery, covered in thick, swirling clouds. For a long time, people did not know what was underneath those clouds. Now, thanks to space probes and powerful telescopes, we know more about this amazing planet. We know it is a rocky world, similar in size to Earth. Because of this, some people call Venus our sister planet. But as you will see, it is not a very friendly sister. It is a world with extreme heat and crushing pressure, very different from our home. To understand why Venus appears as the morning and evening star, we need to look at its place in the solar system. Imagine the sun is in the very center. The planets all travel around the sun in paths called orbits. Mercury is the closest planet to the sun, and then comes Venus. After Venus, our planet, Earth, orbits the sun. This means Venus's orbit is inside Earth's orbit. It is always closer to the sun than we are. Think of it like two runners on a circular track. Venus is on the inner lane, and Earth is on the outer lane, both running around the sun. Because Venus is on an inner track, it can never travel very far away from the sun in our sky. From our viewpoint on Earth, Venus always looks like it is tagging along close to the sun. It is like being tied to the sun with an invisible rope. This is why we never see Venus high in the sky in the middle of the night, like we might see Mars or Jupiter. Those planets have orbits that are outside of Earth's orbit. They can appear all night long, moving across the entire sky. But Venus must stay near its bright partner, the sun. This close relationship with the sun is the key to Venus's secret identity. When Venus is on one side of the sun in its orbit, we see it trail behind the sun as it sets. As the sky gets dark, the sun is just below the horizon, but Venus is still high enough for the sunlight to reach it and bounce back to our eyes. This is when we call it the evening star. It shines brightly in the twilight glow. It is the first point of light you can spot in the western sky after a beautiful sunset, hanging like a lonely, brilliant lantern. On the other hand, when Venus moves to the other side of the sun in its orbit, it leads the sun. It rises in the morning just before the sun does. As dawn approaches, Venus climbs into the eastern sky while it is still dark. It shines brightly, heralding the coming day. Then, as the sun peeks over the horizon, its powerful light washes out the fainter light of Venus. This is when we call it the morning star. It is the last bright star you will see before the sky becomes too bright for any stars or planets to be visible to our eyes. Now you know why Venus appears only in the morning and evening, but what makes it shine so incredibly bright? It is often the third brightest object in the entire sky, after only the sun and the moon. The reason for its amazing shine is its thick atmosphere. Venus is completely covered by a dense blanket of clouds. These are not fluffy white water clouds like we have on Earth. Venus's clouds are made mostly of a chemical called sulfuric acid, and they are very, very thick. They stretch for miles up into the planet's sky. These clouds are amazing at reflecting sunlight. They act like a giant, shiny mirror in space. When the sunlight travels through space and hits Venus, about 70% of that light bounces right off the clouds. This reflected sunlight is what travels back to Earth and enters our eyes, making Venus look so dazzling. In comparison, Earth's clouds and surface reflect only about 30% of the sunlight that hits it. Even the moon, which can look very bright, only reflects about 12% of sunlight. Venus is simply the most reflective planet in our solar system. As Venus travels around the sun, its appearance to us on Earth changes. Just like our moon, Venus goes through phases. Sometimes it looks like a tiny bright circle. Other times, when it is closer to us, it looks like a beautiful, slender crescent. You need a telescope to see these phases clearly, but they show that Venus is a round world being lit by the sun from different angles. When Venus is a crescent, it is actually at its brightest for us. This is because even though less of it is lit up, it is much closer to Earth at that point in its orbit. So, the combination of two things makes Venus the brilliant jewel we see. First, it is relatively close to us. It is the closest planetary neighbor we have. Sometimes it comes closer to Earth than any other planet. Second, its super reflective clouds act like a powerful spotlight, sending a huge amount of sunlight our way. This is why, even though it is much smaller than giant planets like Jupiter, it can often outshine them in our sky. It is a perfect recipe for creating a stunning cosmic beacon that has amazed skywatchers for all of human history. For thousands of years before anyone knew what planets were, ancient people all over the world noticed Venus. They saw this bright light that appeared in the morning and then in the evening. Because it seemed to be two different objects, many cultures gave it two different names. The ancient Greeks called the morning star Phosphorus, which means bringer of light. They called the evening star Hesperus, which means star of the evening. It took them a long time to realize that Phosphorus and Hesperus were actually the very same object. The ancient Romans also noticed this bright star. They named the planet Venus after their goddess of love and beauty. It seemed like a fitting name for such a beautiful and graceful light in the sky. The Mayans, who lived in ancient Central America, were expert astronomers. They watched Venus very, very closely. They created incredibly accurate calendars based on its movements. They believed Venus was a powerful and sometimes dangerous god, and its position in the sky could tell them when to go to war or when to perform important ceremonies. Over time, as our understanding of the universe grew, we learned the truth. Astronomers like Galileo Galilei used early telescopes to study Venus in the 1600s. He was one of the first people to see the phases of Venus, just like the phases of our moon. This was very important evidence. It helped prove that Venus and Earth orbited the sun, not the other way around. Seeing Venus change from a full circle to a thin crescent showed that it must be traveling around the sun, which was a huge discovery that changed how we understood our place in the cosmos. Today, we know that Venus is a fascinating but harsh world. Spacecraft have shown us that its surface is hotter than an oven, hot enough to melt lead. The air pressure is so heavy it would crush a car. But from our safe distance here on Earth, Venus remains a beacon of beauty. The next time you see a brilliant light in the morning or evening sky, you will know its secret. You are not looking at a star, but at our sister planet, Venus, the beautiful and bright morning and evening star, continuing its ancient dance with the sun.